In this video, we'll be making Ragdoll Physics in Unity, as you can see right here. I'll also show you how to combine them with your animations and activate the Ragdoll when you actually want your player to fall. Let's get right into it.
Alright, so all we need to get started is a humanoid character, as I have here, with a animator component. I got this character from Mixamo. The link will be in the description down below. And just make sure that when importing the character that you put the animation type to humanoid and that you have an avatar for your character. Alright, so with that said, let's get right into it. So in the hierarchy, I'm going to right click, go to 3D object, and then go to Ragdoll. So this will open the Ragdoll Builder Wizard right here. And in here we have a animator field, right? So we can just drag our player right in here, okay? Because again, our player has a animator component attached to it, right? Also, very important, make sure that your animator component has a avatar attached to it. That's very important. Okay, so by the way, another way to attach the animator is by clicking on this circle, and then you can also just select your character. All right, so now we want to click on autofill, right? And if we now come to this advanced bone setup section and expand this, we will see that all the bones got automatically attached, right? So if we head over to our player and expand this and then expand the hips here, we can just see all the bones here, right? So these are all the bones of our character, which just got automatically assigned, right? Now, these could have a slightly different name for you, but the bone setup should be similar for most humanoid characters, right? But either way, if there's any mistake with the assignment or issue, you can also manually assign the bones here, okay? Anyway, now we can just click create, like so. And that's it. We basically already have our Ragdoll physics. So one thing to note is that now every bone has a collider on it and a rigid body. And some bones also have the character joint component, okay? So I can go to my collider here and, for example, make the radius a little bit smaller so that it fits on the limb perfectly. So if you want very accurate physics on your character, you might want to manually tweak the colliders to fit perfectly on the limbs. But for now, the basic setup should be absolutely fine. So let's actually play and test it. And as you can see, the character fell down instantly. And I can also just walk against it with my player. By the way, if you're interested in making a player controller like I have here, you can check out the video in the top right. And as you can see, it's working properly. I can just drag around my character like this by walking against it. Okay, so now we still have a few issues with our Ragdoll physics. So first off, as you might have noticed earlier, we had some jitter. So to fix this, you want to head over to the character, go to the bones, right? And on every rigid body, right? So on every bone, on every rigid body, you want to go to interpolate and then set this to interpolate. Now, we're actually going to do that later in our script because there is a second, even more important issue that we have to fix. So I just made an animator controller and added a animation to it, right? And I added that to our character. So now let's see what happens when the character actually has the animation. So as you can see, the character is completely freaking out and jittering all over the place. Because what happens is that when you assign an animation to the character, when it's actually playing animation, it will override the Ragdoll physics. So you'll be left with a bunch of colliders intersecting, right? So that's not what we want. So we actually have to make a script that will manage the rigid bodies of the Ragdolls and activate them when we want the player or the character to actually fall or something like that, okay? So let's head over to our script folder. I mean, you can create one if you haven't already. And in here, I'm going to right click, create, go to scripting, go to mono behavior script, and I'm going to call this RagdollHandler, like so. All right, so with our script created, let's remove these annoying comments. Okay. Also going to remove the update function. We don't need it. All right, so at the top, I'm going to get a reference to our animator. Call this anim, and then let's grab an array of rigid bodies, right? And call this RBs. This is going to be the rigid bodies on our bones. And let's also grab an array of colliders, which are going to be the colliders on our bones. Okay, there we go. So in start, we're going to do anim equals get component in parent animator, because again, we're going to place this script on the root bone of our character. And then we're going to do RVs equals get components in children, rigid body. So make sure that you put an S after component, because it should be get components, because it's an array, so you have to get multiple components. Then I'll do colliders equals get components in children collider. Okay, there we go. Now I want to make a public void. Call this turn on Ragdoll. There we go. And I'm going to take in a rule called on, because so we can choose if we want to turn it on or off. So in here, I'm going to do anim dot enabled equals exclamation mark on. So the exclamation mark is very important, because again, when we're turning on the ragdoll, we actually want to turn off the animator and vice versa. Okay, and then let's do for each rigid body RB in RBs. We're going to do RB dot is kinematic. We're going to do exclamation mark on. Okay, and then we're going to also do RB dot interpolation equals rigid body interpolation dot interpolate. Okay, so again, no matter what we do, we always want it to set it to interpolate. Okay, because that's gonna look a lot better. And then we're gonna do for each collider in colliders. I'm gonna do collider dot enabled equals on without an exclamation mark. Okay, so that's basically it. Oh yeah, by the way, we have to call this on start, so make sure you do turn on ragdoll to false on start, okay, because again, we don't want it to be on at the start. And then you can just call this function from any script to turn it on. All right, so now I will turn on the ragdoll when I shoot the character, right? So this is my player controller script. So yeah, when the player shoots the ragdoll, I will turn on the ragdoll physics. By the way, if you want to learn how to make a third-person shooting system, check out the video in the top right corner. So you can call this turn on ragdoll function wherever you actually want to trigger the ragdoll physics. Okay, so the last thing that's left to do is to attach our script to the root bone of the character. So go to the hips bone and drag the Ragdoll handler right on here. There we go. So again, it should be called something like hips, but the name might be a bit different for you, as I said earlier. But just put it on the root bone here, and that should be it. So now I'm gonna play and test it out. Let's see. Okay, so our character seems to be an idle without any ragdoll physics as expected. Let's try and shoot it and see if the ragdoll activates. Oh yeah, there we go. So that seems to be working, and now he's on the floor. We can just drag him around like that. So there you go. That's how you implement ragdoll physics in Unity. So I hope the video was helpful. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. See you next time.